Pregame.com.
Welcome back to Pregame.tv. I'm Marco D'Angelo, and today I'm joined by a special guest, Tim Lawson. And he's a member of the forums. He's a big fan of Pregame on Twitter. And, you know, Tim, first of all, welcome to the studios. And,
Thank you.
You know, we say it all the time. We talk about it in the forums and through Twitter and that. And because of social media and everything, it's like the world's become a lot smaller. And we like to say that, you know, the pregame community is kind of like a little family, a hangout. Sometimes we have some squabbles in there, but, you know, generally, you know, 80%, 90% of the people in the forums and stuff are really good people sharing information, and it's a nice place to hang out. And when guys come through town, you know, being in Vegas, you know, we're the sports mecca of the world, you know, a lot of people come and visit. I like personally, if my schedule permits, to be able, you know, go down to the strip and meet people. And you're one of the guys that, you know, I was able to meet. First time I met you, you happened to be in town. Same time Gil Alexander was in town and that, and Dave Essler and that. So we all got to, you know, hook up and hang out. And you've been back a couple times since, and we've been able to share a few meals and. You know,
a few meals inside of one meal sometimes.
Yeah, we've taken Tim to the Bellagio buffet. And first off, Tim, thanks for being here. And I also want to thank you for serving our country. Tim, you were in the Marines.
I was in the Marine Corps for 5.5 years, that's right.
And did you see during your tour of duty, anything as scary as me at the Bellagio buffet?
I've seen Russians drinking vodka, and you probably consume more buffet than they do vodka, but it's probably a good comparison.
Good comparison.
Yeah.
Tim is a young guy. You love sports. You like to, you know, put a few dollars investing into sports. How did you find Pregame? We always like to hear the stories of how people, you know, found us and what you like about us. Well, or if you don't like something, you can tell us that too. Might get cut out, but you know.
You know, just like most gamblers, I got infatuated with the idea that I could put money on a situation and gain money from its outcome. And I learned at a very early age, and throughout my life, I kind of went back and forth with the poker and blackjack and sports, and it was kind of like this rotation of whatever wasn't losing money the most of the time was what I did. And a couple years ago, I decided I want to get back into sports betting. And so with the phenomenon that is podcasts, I went into iTunes and started to see if there was a podcast for sports betting. And I found the wonderful production by R.J. Bell with the Today in Sports Betting. And of course, you know, VR's on there, you know, talking about damage, and and I was hooked. You know, I just loved the idea that there was people collaborating their ideas on handicapping sports, and it helped me develop as a sports bettor. And of course, that's how I found the website and the community and everything, and that's how I got involved.
Yeah. Did RJ slip you $20 to mention his podcast first?
No, but I will say that my primary podcast is Gil Alexander's Betting Dork podcast.
Betting Dork podcast.
Absolutely.
All good podcasts, no question about that. And you know, and that's the beauty. I mean, there is, you know, Pregame, I mean, let's face it, we are a pick-selling site, but there is so much information available at Pregame for free, and, you know, the exchange of information from, you know, everybody and all of the podcasts and the guests, you know, that go on there. And, you know, Gil's podcast, I mean, football season, the roundtable, you know, discussion, what we do with the NFL every week. And,
absolutely.
You know, Vegas Runner, myself, and then we have a rotating guest. Brian Leonard's been on it several times, and we've had a lot of industry people, Joe Fortenbaugh from National Football Post and stuff. And Gil just, you know, he's great at getting, you know, some dynamite guests that just share stuff that you can't find anywhere else. And all of that information, whenever you take it together, it's gonna make you a better handicapper. Even if you just pick up, you know, one thing from, say, you know, Brian Leonard, you know, on a podcast, or one thing, you know, that I have in a podcast, whatever, and add it to your own arsenal, it's going to make you a better handicapper. What are some of the things that you like at Pregame that you utilize?
Well, of course, I like the community, and I like just the idea that there's handicappers like me, in the forums talking about sports and handicapping and just different ideas on how to look at a certain game, that if I'm unsure how I feel about a certain baseball game or whatever, and I see one of the forum members discuss a certain aspect I wasn't paying attention to, it might just get me off the game, realizing, okay, I haven't looked deep enough into this game so far. But the thing, honestly, that has fascinated me the most about pregame, that I've appreciated the most, is how down to earth the pros are. And I can say that because I have gotten a chance to meet up with you a few times. I've seen Gil on a handful of occasions. I've had lunch with Dave a couple times. VR seems to be avoiding me every time I come in. So, you know, I couldn't lose that opportunity to poke at him a little bit.
All right, well,
let him know.
VR, you're on the spot. You
Yeah.
know, next time Tim's in town, you gotta make it to the Strip. We put you on the spot today, but yeah, it is, and you know, it does sound corny, but you know, we really do appreciate you guys. I mean, you know, if you don't have a community and people in there interacting, you know, there's nobody there. It's like
Definitely.
going to a nightclub with no people in it, and the exchange of information. And one of the good things is because it is such a mix of people from all over the country, you know, there might be, you know, there's a guy in the forums, you know, like Poole, that specializes in a small conference in basketball, but he knows that conference inside and out.
Definitely.
You can get little nuggets that you're not going to find anywhere. You can look all over the, you know, the internet, but we've got people that specialize in certain things. So yeah, if you come to pregame and you want to use a pro and spend money and buy a pick, yeah, we're about that. But also, if you want to come and just get better as a handicapper and sharing information, you know, with other people in exchange, everybody gets better. That's what pregame is about too.
Absolutely, and one of the tools that I use the most in pregame, other than the sportsbook SPY, is at the end of my day of handicapping, I will go to, you know, your site, Gil's site, VR site, see what plays you had for that day, and see how they match up with the plays that I had picked for that day, to see if, you know, am I seeing the same value in these games as you know, as the pros are, and that can help me. That helped me a lot, especially in the basketball season, realizing that I was developing as a handicapper.
Right, and that's an absolute great tool because, you know, not only can you see the plays, but you can actually click on the play and open the page up, and if it's a capper that does analysis, you can read analysis and see what the guy, you know, what his entire thought process was in, you know, coming up with that game. So those are great handicapping tools. As we mentioned, and you know, I said you were in, you know, the military and you got to travel all around the country. As we wrap up this video, you know, just some of the places you've been to during your tour with the Marines.
When I went overseas with the Marine Corps, I was a Marine security guard. I guarded embassies, and I did a lot of traveling, giving support to other embassies, and also taking leave, of course, you know, and enjoying anywhere I could go. I was in Algeria, Turkey, Morocco, France, Brussels, Prague, Spain, Kiev, Moscow, Vilnius, Sri Lanka. I'm sure there's a couple that I'm forgetting.
Yeah.
Oh, Brazil. Yeah.
Well, Moscow's got to be special to you because you actually met your current girlfriend. I got to give a shout out to Cassandra. She's not here today, but I got to meet her yesterday when we had lunch at the Bellagio. I hope I didn't scare her too much. But I was hungry, like I said.
Well,
you know, I have a reputation.
But when are you not?
Right, this is true. But so, you know, you got to meet her over in Moscow, and, you know, that's great. And, you know, we appreciate you stopping by today. Want to give a shout out. You have a little podcast you do of your own. You follow a lot of us guys on Twitter, and we appreciate you do a lot of retweets whenever we have our podcast up, and that you retweet it out.
Of course.
And we always appreciate that. But you have a podcast. Tell our listeners about that.
Well, my latest project is with an organization called Veteran Empire. It's actually the shirt that I'm wearing right now. We're a group of veterans that support and promote other veterans that are doing things in their lives. We have musicians, entrepreneurs, we have filmmakers, and I have a podcast. Each week I get a veteran on the show, or a non-veteran that's just very active inside the veteran community, because, you know, our motto is support those who support you. And that's why we retweet everybody else's tweets, you know, because, you know, the support goes two ways. And so that's what we're doing right now, is trying to promote the veteran in a new light, showing America what we're doing out there.
Well, we appreciate everything you've done for us while you served and continuing afterwards. And thanks for stopping by today.
It's my pleasure.
You hope you enjoyed it, and
of course.
Definitely when you're back in town, give us a holler and we'll hook up on the strip again.
Always.
And I'll drag VR out this time, okay? All right. He's Tim Lawson, member of the forums, and I'm Marco D'Angelo. Thanks for watching pregame.tv. We'll be back with more videos. We'll have all of your sports action all week long. Follow it at pregame.tv.